Narendra Modi has become the first Indian Prime Minister to visit Israel as he embarks on a three-day tour. It's seen as a sign of deepening ties between the two countries. Modi will hold talks with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Tel Aviv, but he won't travel to Ramallah to meet Palestinian leaders, as is customary for visiting world leaders.
I believe the formula for success is simple. It's I square, T square. That equals Indian talent times Israeli technology. It equals Israel-India's ties for tomorrow. I square, T square.
Live now to West Jerusalem and our correspondent Harry Fawcett. Hi there, Harry. Who gets what from this relationship?
Well, I think as you heard from Benjamin Netanyahu there, a lot of this is about deepening economic ties, technology and science among the top things that the two men will be discussing, viewing, and the various business delegations will be trying to do deals on. Both men were talking about the fact that they had a great pool of natural talent in terms of the people of their countries. And Narendra Modi will be spending a lot of time looking at agri-tech, at water desalination and cleansing processes here in Israel. And of course, there is a huge defense relationship, military relationship between these two countries. Israel is the third biggest exporter of arms to India, averaging at more than $1 billion a year. There was a $2 billion deal signed earlier this year for surface-to-air missiles. And so really this is a very big state visit as it's being played out here on the Israeli side. Benjamin Netanyahu pretty much clearing the decks of his diary to accompany Narendra Modi on almost every leg of this just over 48-hour visit. And he's really being treated very much in the same way as Donald Trump was just a few weeks ago in May.
OK, Harry, many thanks for that. Let's talk now on Skype to Sreeram Chaulia, professor and visiting professor at the dean, he's the dean rather, at Jindal School of International Affairs. Sreeram Chaulia, that's what each side gets in this relationship. Is there any significance here to the timing, or has it not really come out of the blue?
I think it is significant because India has for a long time tiptoed around its burgeoning relationship with Israel without ever sending a prime minister. So it's special, and the timing is also unique because Mr. Modi has cultivated very strong links with all the Gulf Cooperation Council members, as well as Iran. So, and Turkey, to mention, not to forget. So all the major powers in the Middle East have been covered by him extensively, and India is doing a lot with all of them. There was one missing link or a gap in India's Middle East diplomacy, which was, Prime Minister not being able to go to Israel due to domestic political obstruction at home in India. But I think Mr. Modi is politically far more secure and powerful today to be able to do this. And hardly any controversy has arisen as a result of his going this time in India. So I think there's a lot of, as your correspondent mentioned, there's a lot of meat on the table in terms of economics and defense. But I must also mention that symbolically it's important for India to show that it has this ability to wear its choices on its sleeves and has the confidence to do it. Because unlike some countries that deal with Israel but do not come out openly about it, India believes that the time has come now for it to demonstrate with confidence that we are not ashamed of this relationship. Rather, there's a lot of mutual win-win and benefit that both sides get from it, and therefore there's no reason to be coy about it anymore.
Israel on Monday saying it completely supports India in its situation over Kashmir, Indian-administered Kashmir, Pakistan-administered Kashmir as well. Is there any potential there for that to backfire on the Indian government, or are they suitably emboldened by that kind of stance?
Things have changed in India over time. There isn't as much of a intersection between our foreign policy and domestic politics as it used to be before. So I think it's pretty much contained. There's a national unanimity and consensus in India that we must improve our relationship with Israel, just as we are doing with all the other important players in the region. So I think we are pretty balanced. And even with the Palestinian cause, we have not given that up, and we continue to support the Palestinian institutions. Mahmoud Abbas was recently in Delhi to meet Mr. Modi, and we continue to support the state building and the two-state solution. So I think Israel, in a way, we have dehyphenated it from Iran and from Palestine, because earlier, whenever Israel was mentioned, it was said that it might upset the Palestinians or the Iranians or the Gulf countries. But now, in a way, Mr. Modi has seamlessly created this consensus within India as well as among our major partners in the region, that this is actually good for the whole region, because it helps in countering terrorism, it helps to limit the spread of Islamic extremism and fundamentalism, and it also helps in a developmental sense, because Israel is doing so much for our agriculture sector and for innovation and for entrepreneurship and all these things, smart cities, skill development, in all these fields. I think Mr. Modi believes that there's a lot to be imbibed from Israel, and he's actually going as a learner, as somebody who believes that we need to pick up some of those amazing traits that the Israelis have, shown over time to make the desert bloom, as Mr. Modi calls it. So there's a lot for us to learn. Of course, the defense is there, and that is very central to the whole deal, as your correspondent mentioned. I think defense deals is where Israel is the most forthcoming in sharing advanced technology with India. We have not gotten that from the United States, and to some extent only from Russia and France, who are our other
Sreeram
big
Chaulia,
sellers.
we'll have to leave it there, but thank you so much for joining us here on the News Hour.